Nina.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm absolutely over the moon. Over the moon. I'm like living on cloud nine at the moment.
Uh-huh.
It's been an emotional whirlwind over the last few days. So thank you very much for inviting me on here tonight.
Tell us why. Why are you over the moon?
On Monday, I launched my very, very first book. It is an autobiography of my relationships and the past behaviors that I have followed. And then last night, it went to #1 in the hot new releases. And I was just on cloud nine. I've never jumped and screamed and ran around the house so much in all my life. So hence the reason why I'm so bubbly and I'm so like, ooh, we're going to do this. It's awesome.
Why don't you love me?
That's the one. Yep. And it's all about learning about patterns of behavior that we have had in the past in order for us to forgive the past and to be able to move forward and just to live a life where we feel loved and we feel valued and we feel peace and freedom. Because I think when you're following certain behaviors of pattern and that pattern isn't suiting you, it seems like you're a prisoner of your past. And we don't want to be a prisoner of our past. We want to be able to be the creator of our future.
Yes. So let's start. Who is Nina? Where are you actually based now? And then what was the reason of writing book?
So I'm based in the UK. Okay, so I live in Warrington, which is in between Manchester and Liverpool. Who is Nina? Well, if you'd have asked me this, Suki, probably about 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to answer because my head was in such a spin with everything that I was going through. Now I know who I am. I am a passionate person. I am very emotional. I have unbelievable amounts of emotion, but I'm also a dreamer. And I just want to be able to live the life that I want to live. And now I am living that life. So to be able to move away from one business and open another business, to be able to do what I want to do throughout the day, to be able to help other people on their journey, all of that is what makes it so surreal. And, you know, the fact that I wanted for many, many years being young, I always wanted to make a difference. I always wanted to be on that stage. And now after 42 years, I feel like this is my time. So the actual reason behind the book was me. It was all me. So I've lived a life where, oh, you know, when you just get that feeling that you're working hard constantly and nothing seems to go right. You get a big billing from one side, you're in a crap relationship, excuse me, but you get the worst case of bad luck. And, you know, that's how I was living my life. It felt like that no matter how hard I worked, no matter what I did, how many businesses I built, I just wasn't getting anywhere fast. And I think that was because I didn't have the right outlook on life. I was in a very, very negative mindset. So doing a lot of self-development on myself absolutely inspired me then to break free from my pattern. It inspired me to become a survivor rather than somebody that is stuck in the past and somebody that was a prisoner of what she'd been through. And then all of a sudden, I just needed to write the book. And it's as if, I don't know, it's as if somebody guided me to write this book. And then once I started writing it, I couldn't stop. But then the freedom I felt afterwards was immense, absolutely immense. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders.
Very interesting. And when I asked your favorite quote, you said, life is not about waiting the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. And that's by
Indeed.
Vivian Green.
Yeah, absolutely
And
love that.
yeah, sounds like your book and that quote that you mentioned, you even have a tattoo of it.
Yeah, I do. I have it actually tattooed on my arm. So
Uh-huh.
it's there. I'm just trying to so you can see. There we go. So I have it
Yeah.
tattooed on my arm. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason behind that is because it's always resonated with me, with the life that I've had and the fact that I've had many storms in my life. And when I first started with Ann Summers, we went through a stage where we were all in a recession. And I had a big team of girls, and we were in the direct sales industry. And at the time, it was really, really hard to sell our business within a recession. So
Mm-hmm.
when I actually said to the girls, you know, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. So what I meant by that was, we're not waiting for the recession to pass. And then the second part of the quote, it's about learning to dance in the rain. It's about learning to sell your business within the recession.
Mm-hmm.
And that quote turned my team around, and it really made an impact. And then from then on, it became our little mascot within the team. And then one day I wanted to go and get a tattoo, another one. I have got a few. And one of my girls said to me, Nina, you need to have the quote. And it didn't dawn on me straight away. And I thought, no, you're right, because that I've lived by this quote all my life. It's not about waiting for the storm to pass. The storm could be your business. The storm could be the pandemic now. The storm could be something in your relationship. The storm could be a bereavement. It's about
Mm-hmm.
learning to dance in the rain. And we've got to make the most of the opportunities that we have right here, right now, instead of waiting for what we hope to pass is going to pass. It might take years to pass.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it kind of resonated with me for a lot of reasons, not just through business, through life. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
also resonates with quite a lot of women out there as well, and probably men as well, where, you know, especially now in the time that we're in this pandemic, we're all waiting for COVID to be over. We're all waiting for it to pass. But unfortunately, we're none the wiser when it is going to pass. So this is about being able to pivot now, pivot our businesses, pivot our life, being able to learn new things, our mindset, you know, keeping positive in order for us to literally build whatever it is we're building in this new world.
Yeah. And then when we talk about rain, rain is not always bad.
No,
Things
not
happen
at all.
for us, not to
Mm,
us.
yeah, totally understand. And even, you know, when you think it's about learning to dance in the rain, I mean, I love dancing. I would dance naked in the rain if I'm honest,
Mm-hmm.
Suki. I'd love that. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of people use rain as a bad word, because when they open the windows and they see it's raining, they automatically put a meaning to the word rain. They put that meaning that it's miserable, it's wet, it's not nice. And yet when you look at people in third world countries that don't get as much water, rain to them is like winning the lottery. So, you know,
Mm.
it's all about the meaning that we put towards the words that we use.
Yeah. Because, and also, like it's a life. There are so many obstacles.
Mm.
And then we think it's challenges. But if we look at it from a different perspective, it might came to us to free us from something, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
and for many, many years of my life, I looked at conflict and challenges as a bad thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
was a runner. I've always been a runner. So whenever something got too difficult in relationships, especially, I would just pack up and run. And Suki, I have lived in probably around about 20 different houses because I literally just pack everything up and I'm off because I saw it as a bad thing. Now, for me, because I've changed my perspective on my life and I've learned how to move past my barriers and I've learned how to heal from what it is I've been through in the past, I see challenges now as growth. And, you know, when we get, you know, we get that obstacle, and I've always been a self-motivator. And I think that's one of my really powerful traits is that to me, it's about jumping hurdles. We've always got to jump those hurdles because we're always going to get challenges in life. We're not going to go through life and everything be rosy. So now it's a case of, yes, we've got this challenge. How are we going to respond to it? Are we going to look at it as a positive growth method, or are we going to sit in it and think that this challenge is here to hurt us? And I was that person. I was that person who could not see the positive side of anything, couldn't see the positive side of any challenge. It was always, why is this happening to me? What has the world got against me? What have I done so bad that this is happening to me? Now, it's like I get bills through the post and people must think I'm crazy because I go, oh, that's brilliant. I'll pay that now. Thanks for having a water bill. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, people are like, are you crazy? And I'm like, no. Do you know what I mean? The reason I've changed my perspective on that is because many, many years ago, I used to dread a water bill coming or a council tax bill or something like that because I'd think, where am I going to get the money from to pay it? Now I welcome these bills through because if it means I get to pay it, it means I'm living my life. I'm not surviving, I'm thriving. And that's a massive difference when we, you know, when we can change that perspective and that concept of how we live.
Yeah. So when was that turning point? What made you like there should be some
There was
like
a turning point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like click.
definitely.
What was
Now,
that?
it was actually, so I was in a relationship with my fella, and we were massively in crisis mode. And it was like both of us were strong people, and we both of us wanted to wear the trousers in the relationship. So we were constantly conflict, arguing, challenges, and I wasn't happy with one thing, he wasn't happy with another. And eventually it got to a point where I was really fed up of this push and pull relationship that we had. And I started to think, surely to God, I can't be going through another toxic relationship, another volatile relationship. It wasn't toxic and it wasn't volatile. It was the baggage that I had brought from the last relationship. I was comparing the two relationships together. And we decided to move in with each other because that's the normal thing to do with any relationship. You grow together, you move in together, you get married, you have babies, if that's what your choice is. But then who actually says that that's how our relationships have to go? A relationship is between two people. And as long as both people are happy, does it make a difference? If you live together, does it make a difference? If you are married, does it make a difference whether you have children? So I started to then think, well, okay, I'm not living the ideal, you know, the ideal relationship here. So instead of looking at all the positive sides of the relationship, I started to think of all the negative things. Why am I not having this? Why does he not want to be with me? Why can't we live together? And it really, really diminished my self-worth. But then, Suki, once I sat down and I thought, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not doing this anymore. And I did end the relationship and I walked away and I started to do development on myself. And that's when I came into coaching. And it was brilliant because what I actually learned while I was learning and becoming qualified as a coach, I was my number one client. And everything that I learned, I kind of flipped and put it back on me. And I started to change. And I could feel it. I could absolutely feel it. And I was thinking, so my bank got hacked. And this is just an example of how I changed my emotional response. So my bank got hacked, and they took quite a lot of money out of my bank account. Now, normally, Suki, I'd have gone up like a pot bottle, and I'd have been like, oh, what am I going to do? Oh my God, how am I going to sort this out? And I looked on my bank and I saw all this money had gone. And I just went, okay, best ring the bank. And I rang the bank, and I have never been so calm in all my life. And then I started to think, what's going on here? That's not like you. Normally you'd have screamed and shouted and jumped up and down and be like, oh, what's going on? I was so relaxed. I wasn't stressed about it because I knew the bank had my back. The bank would give me the money back. And then I started to realize, well, actually, what I'm doing with this self-development is working. It was brilliant. So that to me, I would say would be the turning point. It was about 18 months ago. It got to a point where enough was enough. I was fed up of the arguing. I was fed up of the conflict. I was fed up of how I was feeling. And now the relationship, we did part. We parted ways during lockdown, and we stayed apart for about 9 weeks. And the relationship now, we're now back together, and the relationship is so strong. We have come out of crisis mode, and we're now in that deep attachment mode now, where he understands what I need, I understand what he needs, and the communication between us is amazing. I'm quite direct with him because that's how he likes it. And he will answer me and not ignore me, which is one of my pet hates. So working together more and being in control of both of our emotional intelligence and our emotional responses has brought us back together, which is just beautiful.
Yeah, that brings back your book title, Why Don't You Love Me? Why do people ask that all the time? So much attention seeking, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. And I think the reason being is because for me, and I'm talking from my experience, I was an attention seeker. And I got to a point, Suki, where I'm not ashamed to admit this now. I would cause conflict to get the attention. And it's quite funny, really, because it's actually called the crazy 8 stage of a relationship. And it's where, because you need that adrenaline rush, you need somebody to tell you and praise you and constantly, I love you, I you know, and to give you that attention. When you don't get that attention, you still need that adrenaline rush. So then you start thinking, well, where am I going to get it from? He's not giving me the attention that I want. So they create conflict. And the thing is, with that, they get a reaction. And it's the reaction then that gives them the adrenaline. But that's not a great way to be building a relationship with somebody. Because what we want to do is build the relationship with us. Because when we truly love ourselves and we truly know our worth, we don't crave attention. And I actually put a post in my group today, and I thought it really, really resonated with me, because it said, why do you want to be somebody's princess when you're already a queen? And it was just fantastic, because to me, that really hit home. For years and years and years, I've wanted to be that princess. I wanted to have all of that attention. And what's so bizarre now, Suki, is I've turned that on its head, and I look at my life from a different perspective. I know what I'm valued at. I know what my worth is. And now people want my attention. And what's really strange is that I've gone from me wanting everybody else's attention to not needing it. Now everybody wants my attention. And that is the power of the mind.
Would any upbringing and different stuff happened in the childhood, would that have any effect on people wanting
definitely
attention?
And the reason being is because, you know, if you're brought up in a family where you're fighting to get attention all the time, I found myself, from a personal point of view, that I felt like I had to compete with my brothers. Okay, so I'm from a mixed race background. In our religion, it is, you know, well, should I say it was? You know, it's obviously a little bit more liberated now. But in my religion, it was a case of, so I'm half Indian, and from that side of that religion, it was always the men. It was always the boys. The boys carried the name on. And I found that really affected me, because I felt like I wasn't good enough because I wasn't a boy. And I was always fighting for attention. I was always thinking, well, I'm the black sheep of the family because I'm a girl. I'm not a boy. I'm not going to carry the name on. So many, many years ago, when I got married, I wouldn't change my name. And I didn't want to change my name because I didn't want to take that away. I always wanted to keep the Kundi. So I ended up having a double-barreled name. And that was really because I was trying to please my parents. And, you know, thinking, well, if I change my name, is that going to make me less part of the family because I'm not connected to that family anymore? And these were all the thoughts that were going through my head. Now, the thing is, Suki, that's not the case. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I'm just as valued within my family as my brothers are. But when we are struggling as a child and we don't have as much attention as a child, then we generally take that with us into adulthood, and it forms a pattern of behavior, and we then look for that behavior within our relationships.
I see. So we've got our Maira here. She's asking us a question. Hi, Nina. Could I ask, is it attention seeking, or could it be a sign of insecurity, of not liking yourself?
Yeah, when we seek attention and we need people to praise us, to love us, to tell us that they love us, that is because we're not happy with who we are. We want other people to give us that happiness. We want other people to give us that praise. So when we build our own self-esteem and we look inside ourselves and say, okay, well, what is it that I'm lacking? Why don't I like myself? Why can't I love myself? Why do I need all of this attention off everybody? And a lot of the time it is because you're either, you know, your self-worth has been diminished, your self-esteem is not where it needs to be. There's something on the outside of you that you don't like, so you're hiding away because of that. And it really, really does affect our growth. And like I said, a lot of this does come from childhood. The majority of it comes from childhood. I had a toxic relationship, and it is in the book. You know, it's in one of the chapters where he broke my nose, and my nose is still broken. And a lot of people don't realize that I have a broken nose. But when I'm on a video, you can actually see my nose slants from one side to the other. And it is still broken. I've never gone back and had it repaired, which is my own fault. But that diminished my self-worth, because then I thought, oh my God, I'm ugly now. I've got a broken nose. People are not going to like me. People are going to see this. People are going to judge me. So even just a small thing like a defect can make a massive difference on how you're feeling inside. So then that in itself, because you're not 100%, you're dying for other people to feed your ego. You need people to give you that reassurance that everything is okay. When you learn that everything is okay and you learn to love yourself, broken nose or no broken nose, you don't need that attention anymore.
Yeah. It is quite interesting, but people really like attention, not even just in their relationships.
Yeah.
Because
Everybody likes
everyone,
attention.
yeah.
But the
And
thing is, there's
then,
a difference, Suki, between having attention for the right reasons and having attention for the wrong reasons. And, you know, when we say attention, you know, we all love to be praised. Everybody wants to be felt that they are respected. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. And, you know, when we do a job for somebody, yes, okay, we do expect a thank you. We don't always get a thank you, but we do expect one because that's how we've been brought up. We've been brought up with manners. We've followed that pattern of behavior. But I'm not saying we don't need any attention at all. Of course, we need some attention. We've got emotional needs that need to be dealt with. But we want the attention for the right reasons, not because we're craving it, but because the person that we love, the other person in that relationship, is giving us that attention because they want to. And that's the difference. And it doesn't matter whether that's a relationship with your partner or whether it's a relationship with your child or whether it's relationship, you know, with a parent. You know, we don't want to be craving something. We want to be giving it because we are worthy of it, and we are worthy of it. Everybody is worthy of having love from somebody, and there are lots of types of love.
Yeah, perhaps we've been raised that parents given us so much attention, love, and we always expect, not always expect, even that's like became our need.
Became natural.
Yeah, natural,
and we can go the other way with it as well, Suki, because, you know, if you get somebody who, you know, they're raising their children, for example, and they're giving so much attention and, you know, so much praise, and then, you know, it's a case of when this person then goes out into the real world, is this person going to be shocked because they're not going to get that much attention all the time? And I had to teach my son that, because my son's an only child. He's got an amazing relationship with me because I've brought him up for the majority of his life as a single parent. We have an amazing bond, but he has to understand he can't just click his fingers and everybody comes running, because that's not what life is like in the real world. So as much as we want to find a balance, we need to find the balance of giving our children enough love and support, but not over giving it, because we want to make sure that when they grow up, they're not going to be craving all of the attention and seeking the attention for all the wrong reasons, because they need that adrenaline rush, because that's what it all amounts to. It amounts to having that feeling, getting that feeling inside of feeling loved. If you can learn to do that yourself, then when you do get attention off another person, it's a different feeling. It's a loving feeling. It's a, oh, they've just said that to me, and oh, I feel really special now. And that to me is how I have felt with the book. I have been inundated with messages, with Facebook comments, with people liking posts. They've been going out there, they've been buying the book. I never in a million years, Suki, thought it would be as popular as it has been. And it really warmed my heart, because all of these people did this for me. Now, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't expect to sell as many books as I have. I didn't expect to get as much response as what I did. And because I did get the response, I was overwhelmed. I was absolutely, at one point I was in tears, because I was just like, wow. And I don't cry. I don't cry that often. But yeah, they reduced me to tears. Yeah.
Oh, is there any more books coming up?
Oh, yes. I am in the process
Any
at the moment. God, yes, loads of plans. So I'm in the process at the moment of writing book 2. And I'm hoping that's going to be available by summer. And that is all about how to change the pattern. because we can change the pattern. And I want to be able to give people guidance as to how I did it and what I learned along my way and what has helped me to really see the world and to see me for what it is. So that's at the moment, you know, being written. I have a third book coming out probably around about Christmas, and that's a little bit naughty, that, Suki. It's all about sex and about the unspoken topics that women won't discuss. So that one's going to be an eye-opener to many, and I'm really excited about writing that book. But yeah, and my other plans, once COVID dies down, is that I want to be out on the road. I want to be out on the road. I've put together a coaching panel, which is called the Loose Lips Coaching Panel. Remarkable, absolutely amazing. And we're hoping to be able to do events and tour around the UK, at least for now. But obviously, we have got a barrier at the moment, and the barrier is COVID. So we are doing online sessions, but we're not doing any events as of yet. So that's really exciting, because I see it, Suki. We're on that stage and there's balloons everywhere. And I just see the four of us sat there, and then guest speakers coming in, and that is Nina going back to her childhood, where Nina wanted to be on stage. And now all of a sudden the plans are in place for that to happen. So I feel alive. I feel like Nina is back, and she's, whoo, come on, let's have a bit of this.
So tell us more about your Loose Lips coaching panel. How did it start? Who are, like, what people are on it? Are they guest people or like regulars?
No. So I have this talent, would you say, really, of just coming up with ideas. And I normally take a little book to bed with me, because I call it my aha book, because I often wake up at maybe 2-3 o'clock in the morning and go, oh, that's a great idea. And I write it down, and I just seem to pull ideas out the bag. And I think this one particular day, I'd been watching Loose Women, and I love Loose Women. I love the fact that they come on, they discuss loads of different topics, and they're not scared to talk about sex either, which is fantastic. So, and then I woke up and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to have a coaching panel? So a little bit like Loose Lips, but an actual coaching panel where people can put questions to the panel, and we would obviously go live, and we would obviously discuss the answer, and we could give them 4 different views. So I am a sexual wellbeing and relationship coach. I have got Karen Dyer, who deals with anxiety. We have got Vicky Kerr, who is a business coach. And then we've also got Linda Archer, who is a divorce and breakup coach. So between the 4 of us, we've got quite a lot of knowledge and coaching skills and abilities that we can really dig in and develop something with the coaching panel. And then we had to come up with a name, and it took ages, Suki, ages. We were back and forth, and you know, we wanted it similar to Loose Lips, but we could Loose Women, but we couldn't have Loose Women. So we decided to call it Loose Lips and Transformational Tips. So we are the Loose Lips coaching panel. So it's so exciting. I don't even think, if I'm honest with you, I've ever seen a coaching panel out there. So this is kind of like a new thing, or unless they have it in the States, and I'm not sure of it, but I've never actually come across a coaching panel. And I just think we could do wonders in the world if we go live with these events and really get to show us and the power and, you know, the transformations that we can do with so many different people. And that's just wonderful. It is wonderful to be part of it. And my girlies, I love girlies.
Yeah. And this Loose Lips coaching panel, that's just for women only, is that right?
Yeah, so it is just for women. And when we do the
Mm-hmm.
events, they will be ladies' events.
Mm-hmm.
We did toy with the idea of maybe getting like a male guest speaker to come on. So we could probably toy
Mm-hmm.
with the idea of doing something for men eventually. But while we're just setting it up, it is predominantly for women. We all work with women. So the four of us that are on the coaching panel, we all qualified as coaches together. We've got a very strong connection because we've spent so much time coaching each other and learning. We've had our highs, our lows, we've screamed, we've shouted, we've cried. But at the end of it, we've all come out as successful coaches. And it just felt natural for the four of us to do something together. So even though we have our own businesses and we do our own coaching in our own different styles, it was just beautiful to actually come together and create this community that we are going to create and eventually roll out across the UK.
Sounds fantastic, and I can't wait you girls
I
conquer the
know.
world. Yeah, and
It's on
I
the list.
always wonder personally. I always wonder personally. There are so many women empowerment group, and it's like woman, 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 and there are like some men. Why are we dividing ourselves that much? What do you think?
So when I first qualified, I was
Mm-hmm.
always going to be a sexual well-being coach. And the reason being is because I've been in the Ann Summers industry for 18 years. I've spent a lot of time working with women around those needs, around sexual novelty. Now, for me, I was going to do women and men. And at the
Yeah.
beginning, I opened my services up and I even put it on the website that I empower women and I empower men. And I work with them with regards to their self-worth. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I was inundated with men who I think just wanted to have sex with me and weren't quite taking my coaching seriously. So I pulled the advertising on it. Now, I do work with men. I have a male client at the moment, and I just don't advertise it. And the reason being is because I don't know whether men are not as upfront as us women at the moment with regards to
Mm-hmm.
self-development. They're kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
step behind. I know we've spoke about partners not really getting it or getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some men out there, don't get me wrong, who get to a point where they think, no, enough's enough. I need to change my behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I want to build my self-confidence and I want to build my self-worth. And that's great because I encourage any man to do that, because if it makes your life better, as well as your
Mm-hmm.
partner's life better, if you could work together. And I do offer couples coaching where both of them can come and coach with me. That is just wonderful. But unfortunately
Yeah.
for me, I spent months, Suki, where I was getting a message and I was thinking it was somebody that needed my help. And then when I read the message, I realized it wasn't. So I stopped advertising it, which is a shame, but I was getting the
Yeah.
attention for all the wrong reasons.
Right, I see. Because in my head, I was thinking, especially because the experience you have with Ann Summers, you know, women, like the psychology of women, what they need, what they lack of, you know everything about that side.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
but men don't know what woman wants.
No. And
So
maybe
if
there's
you
a book in
coach
that.
men, that would be even more success. You know what I mean?
Well, this is what I was hoping.
Rather
And
than,
I
because you
thought,
helping women and women don't, we don't really know what's like the other side.
no, I know. And I just thought, I've had so many men in the past say to me, and these are men of my female customers, okay? So they're not just
Mhm,
random men, but they've said to me, oh my God, Nina, teach me, tell me what I need to do. So in my
mhm,
mind, I thought, okay, so there's something here now where I could go out there I could put something together. The men could then understand what it is women want, how women like it, what you need to do. And, you know, and that's what I had in my mind. And so many women kept saying to me, Nina, I had one woman say to me, and I had to laugh. She said to me, Nina, she said, can I just record you while you're talking? And I was like, why? And she said, just so I can play it back to my partner so he can then learn from everything that you're saying. So when I used to go out and do parties, my parties weren't just about having fun. Of course we had fun, but they were very educational. So I spent a lot of time learning about how the body works, how the mind works, what women need, what women want, the different parts that are going to really stimulate us. So I put a lot of effort into building my knowledge so that I could then pass this information to the women. And then they would say to me, oh my God, you need to tell my husband how to do this. But unfortunately, I didn't get the right response. So whether it's just not ready for that yet, Suki, and maybe in time, once I have developed the woman side of my coaching business, maybe there is a niche in the market for me to write a book giving the gentleman something to read that is going to be about all the unspoken that the women won't actually divulge to them. Because confidence in the bedroom, a lot of women lack that confidence. A lot of women don't have the confidence to say to their partner, well, actually, I don't like it like that, and this is what I want. So to be able to put that in a book that men can read, that might be the way forward for the time being.
Yeah, because I've remembered it was a book called What Men Knows About Women or something like that.
Yeah.
And then the woman wrote that. And then so many men bought it. And then actually it was, when you opened it, it was just like completely empty. It was just a notebook type of thing. It just had that book title. So like
That is
she became
hilarious.
like instant millionaire because it was
Wow.
yeah, What Men Knows About Women, and it
And
is
there was
such an
nothing.
intriguing title.
Yeah.
People
And I
just
think,
like,
to be fair, you know, if it made a man's life easier, I think they would invest. But it's getting the right people to kind of be interested in what it is that you're providing. And, you know, I think men just want an easy life. That's all they want, is an easy life. And, you know, if we can build up the women first, and then we get the women to have the confidence to go out there and speak to their men and have that intimacy in the bedroom and be able to tell and talk, and, you know, I have the confidence to say, no, I don't want that, I want this, then that's half the battle. Because a lot of the time, men are clueless, and I don't mean that in a nasty way, men, but men are clueless because their women are not talking to them enough. And what we need to do is get the women talking more, and then the men might understand. And I don't mean that in a derogative way. I'm trying to stick up for the men here. Do you know what I mean? In the fact that I learned myself that, you know, one of the things I learned right in the book, one of the things I've learned when it comes to coaching, do I listen enough? No, I do now, because I've spent time listening to what people are telling me. Did I communicate properly? No. I could have been a little bit clearer with my words, with what it was that I meant. So that's one thing that I've developed. And another thing that I've really, really touched on, which has changed my life completely, is my emotional response. And they are the three things that I have really took away from my 18-month journey of becoming a coach and doing the self-development on me.
So tell us about the emotional response a bit more, because people react to things.
Of course they do. Yeah, definitely. And I was I was a real reactor. I'm a very emotional person, very passionate with my emotions, very passionate. I'm not the type of person that cries quite easily, although since being perimenopause, I seem to cry a little bit more now. But I'm not the type of person. But for me, the slightest trigger, I would erupt. I would just literally take the information that people were telling me. I would put my own spin on it. I would attach my own meaning, and then I would literally erupt. Now, a lot of people didn't see this side of me, Suki, because I'm a professional woman. I would never really show that on camera. I would never go out and air my dirty washing in public, so to speak. But my close friends and family saw it all the time. And I would scream. I'd be like, oh, you're getting on my nerves. I would just erupt. And I thought, I got to work on this because it's not nice. It's not nice to feel like that. It's certainly not nice for the other person to witness what it is I'm doing and I'm saying. And I found I was swearing all the time. And to me, that was because I was angry. I was an angry person. And it just wasn't nice. So I did an emotional intelligence course. So I sat a course for 12 weeks. And I learned as much as I could about my emotional intelligent report. And what I then looked at was trying to balance the report out. So when you do your emotional intelligence report, it's kind of like 100 is a good balance. If you're any lower or any higher, then you kind of need to work on it. So when you're at around about 100, that's the balance in life. What I found with mine was I had a few at 100, but then I had some at like 137, 143. So my emotional intelligence was far too high. And a lot of that, Suki, was because I was independent. I'd learned to rely on nobody but myself. I wouldn't let people in because I didn't want to. I just wanted to be on my own, doing my own thing. I was ashamed. I had barriers. I didn't want people to judge me, so I would never let them come close. And then I started to think about how I could bring such a high figure, bring it down to having that balance. And so I started asking people for help, and things like that would be completely out my comfort zone because there was not a chance that Nina asked anybody for help. So I started to work on the ones that were high, and I brought them down, and it opened me up, and it really, it made me look at my life and think, what is wrong with asking for help? And when somebody says something to you, why do you go off like a pot bottle? What is it that's the trigger? When I found what the triggers were, I then decided to add a different meaning. So then, let's say, for example, somebody automatically said something about my son. I would get my back up straight away. And then I'd be like, well, what is the trigger there? The trigger is my son, because he's my boy. I love him. I've always protected him. I've been a single mum to this guy. So I need to protect him. But what they were saying to me, was it actually going to harm my son? No. So did I need to respond in the way that I did? No, not really. And then I started to then take a step back. So when people would have conversations with me, rather than me react straight away, I would count to 10. And I counted to 10 in my head. I would digest what it is they've said to me. And I would think, do I need to put a response to that? Do I need to change the meaning? Do I need to think about that in a different light? What if I looked at it from a different angle? And believe it or not, all of this would go through my mind in 10 seconds. And it calmed me down so much. It just grabbed hold of me, Suki. And it was like, Nina, what are you doing? Yeah, because you can't go around life shouting and screaming at everybody and being angry all the time. And now people say things to me and I'm like, never mind, it's all right, it's good. Like,
Because
whoo.
the example you just brought in, it sounded like if it's about your son, it's your pride, and then it goes to your ego.
Of course it does. Yeah. And we fight our ego all the time. We're always fighting our ego, and our ego is there to protect. And there's a passage in the book that I wrote, which is about my gut feelings versus my ego. So throughout all my relationships, I had so many red flags. I had so many gut feelings, and there was bits where I should have ended that relationship. I should have seen what was coming. But because my ego didn't want me to, my ego was there to protect me. My ego was my pride. I wanted to be loved. I wanted the attention. So I missed all of those red flags. And being able to sit back now, looking at that book, and the ego, the actual red flags versus the ego, I think I wrote about 15 of them, Suki, in the book. There's probably about as long as my legs. There was loads of red flags that I could have picked up on. But our ego is there to protect us. Does it protect us in the right way? No. We don't listen to our inner gut feeling because the ego jumps out first. And my ego was a big ego. It's took time to really get rid of those voices, to get, shrink it down and get it where it needs to be.
Yeah, it is very interesting. So in the last 18 months, your journey's been just in a full speed.
Yeah, unbelievably.
Yeah.
I've not stopped.
How do you motivate, how did you motivate yourself? How do you usually motivate yourself?
Well, for me, I've always been a great self-motivator, and I think that's because of the job that I did with Ann Summers. I spent 18 years with Ann Summers, and because it was a commission-only job, you learnt to just get on with things. You couldn't, you always needed to pick the girls up. You needed to jump hurdles. You needed to motivate yourself to motivate your team. So I learned how to motivate myself a long, long time ago. I have a very bubbly personality. I'm very positive, and I've always been, even though I've had the negative traits, the negative patterns, and the negative mindset towards my relationships, I've always been a positive person on the outside. A lot of that was confidence. A lot of that was, let's just fake it till we make it, because my self-esteem had been battered. But music, I love music. I love getting up in the morning. I love speaking to people. And, for many, many years of my life, girls would ring me, Nina, how do I do this? How can I make more money? If I can encourage them girls to go out there and even just make £10, which would benefit their life, that motivated me, because I want to make a difference to people. And I think once I started on the coaching path, I did it at first, Suki, to help other people. It was never going to be to help me. And it shocked me completely, because I probably gained more from it than anybody else I know so far that I've coached, because it's changed my life unbelievably. Absolutely. My motivation now is I just can't wait to see what the future holds. I cannot wait to see what happens with Nina Kundi coaching. I want to be on that stage. I want to be doing motivational speaking. I want to be helping as many people as I possibly can. I want to have a website where all of my courses are listed, that everybody can just go on and do my courses whenever they feel. And just the actual dream of being able to touch somebody and change their life, that is motivation enough. And even if I can just turn one person around, I'm like, yeah. And I'm running at 100 miles an hour, because I just want everybody to come and let's do this. Let's make a change. Yeah.
So I got this from your website. Why settle for second best when you can have what your heart desires?
Perfect. And that was written by me.
And
That's a quote by
from you.
me. And the
Yeah.
reason being with that is because in my heart, I know I am destined to do more. And that's what my heart desires. I'm not going to settle for second best. I'm not going to be doing a job that I don't want to do when I know I can do so much more. I can give so much power out there and get my voice out there and let everybody hear about my story. And with regards to relationships as well, you know, I speak to so many women, Suki, and it absolutely cripples me when they say to me, I'm unhappy in my relationship. But they won't leave. They won't leave. They're like, I can't leave. We've got kids. I can't leave because I'm not dependent yet. You know, I'm like a codependent to my partner. And it breaks my heart because they're settling for second best instead of actually going out there and getting what their heart desires. And a lot of the time, all they want is to be loved. And all they want to know is, why don't you love me? And that's one of the main reasons why I wrote the book. Because we're loved by everybody. And if we can learn to love ourselves, then we're not going to settle for second best. We're going to go out there. We're going to conquer whatever it is that we dream, whatever we want in the future, we can have because we create it. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm creating a new life for this. I wouldn't say new Nina, but Nina that is back. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, life is for creating.
Life is for living. Life is for living, and we only get one shot at it. So why not make the most of it and do what we can?
Yeah, when you said we only get one shot, and yes, we do. But for me, it's people say life is short. And then I would say, no, actually, life is very long, not to do what you love doing.
It is. And just going back to what we said earlier on in the interview, in the chat, you know, I felt like I was a prisoner of my past. Now, life is a long time to be a prisoner. You don't want to be a prisoner forever. Why would you want to be that when you can have the remainder of your years on this planet feeling freedom, love, your heart is full of love, you are just smiling every minute of the day. I was downstairs the other night, Suki, cooking tea, and I'm dancing away and I've got the music on and I'm dancing away. And believe it or not, my son came downstairs and said to me, Mum, are you on drugs? And I was like, no. And he was like, why are you so happy? And not that it's a bad thing. He said to me, it's good to see you happy, Mum. Do you know what I mean? But he didn't understand. And I'm like, am I not allowed to be happy? Am I not allowed to just have a little bit of a dance and a giggle and he thinks I'm crazy. He absolutely thinks I'm crazy. And I don't mind that because I am. But why? I totally understand and agree with what you're saying. Why do you want to spend the rest of your life doing something you're not happy about? And when I say we only get one shot, I mean we only get one shot here, alive, yeah? But we don't get one shot at actually creating a life. We can create a life at any age we want. And if we're dedicated to do it, you could literally get a blank piece of paper now and you can change everything about your life. And then from this day forward, you can live the life that you have now created. We get as many shots of that as we want to.
Yeah. And with like whatever direction it is, it's just all open for us, isn't it?
It is. And, so, you know, sorry, sometimes I was just going to say sometimes we don't go down the right path, but that's okay because do I regret any of the relationships that I've been in? No. I don't hold no resentment to what I have been through, because it has led me here and now, and I am now on the right path, and I am on a journey that I have designed for me. And it's took me a long time to Suki to get to this point, but now I'm here, and now it's just bloody wonderful.
Everything happens for a reason, eh?
It does. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what was the best lesson you learned up until now, if you could share?
The best lesson, patience is a virtue. I am a very, very impatient person. And one of the things, in fact, I tell you a little story. Okay. I rang O2 once. This was a good few years ago, probably about 10 years ago now. And I rang O2 and I needed a new phone. And I must have been having a conversation with this man on the phone. And he turned around and said to me, I recommend this phone. And I said, okay, why do you recommend that phone? He said, it's because it's for impatient people. And I was like, are you trying to say I'm impatient? And then he was like, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I said, no. I said, but you're right. I am impatient. So that was great customer service from the man at O2. But since I've now developed this business that I've got now, it's took me time to get it where it needs to be. If I could have it where it needs to be tomorrow, I would, because I'm impatient. But I've learned now that that isn't going to happen. And, you know, it takes time. You know, they say Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, in fact, they're still building it now. But, you know, I have learned to take a step back. I have learned to breathe, which has been one of the main things. But definitely patience is a virtue. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Nina.
You're very welcome.
If people want to buy your book,
Yeah.
and then books probably around December time, where they can find you?
So it is on Amazon. And if you either type in my name or if you type in the title, which is Why Don't You Love Me, it pretty much comes up straight away. And that is thanks to all of you guys out there who have helped me to boost that book up to being one of the top 5 hot new releases, and also the bestsellers this week as well, which is fantastic. But yeah, and just if in case you're watching this from a different country, the book is actually listed in 12 different countries. So obviously we've got the likes of Spain, we've got America, we've got Canada, Germany, here in the UK. So definitely go on to Amazon, your Amazon, and type in the title, and hopefully it'll come up for you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Actually, we've got a comment from Meira. Let me show. Thank you, Nina. You are such an engaging speaker. Congratulations on your book too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So this brings our conversation to end.
Wow.
Thank
I cannot
you
believe
very much, Nina.
that has flew.
And
It flew.
I know. And thank you very much for others joined us. And if you'd like to catch up the previous episode, it's on the YouTube, and Nina's episode's going to be on YouTube probably tonight.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Thank you very much. And yeah, and if any of you want to come and share your story, it's always open to you. And always remember, you inspire others just being you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.